Alright, I'm back. Hello. It's been a few days. Like one or two days. And it's still I still choose to do this at night. I don't know why. Lily is oddly quiet too, and I appreciate some support from the sidelines here, especially if she's more familiar with the room than I am. Well, you sort of didn't choose your side last time, so I would her. But it can't be helped. It seems your familiarity with Rin is exactly what she's trying, why she's staying subdued. So I assume you're going somewhere, not coming back to the school. Any idea where? Her eyes widened in shock and she dove back in a somewhat artificial way, making it seem like she's an actor's rehearsal. She seems like an actor's rehearsal for a situation like this. Are you a mind reader? Is that your disability? How unique. No. What? Why would you do that? You knew what I was doing. It was just an educated guess. We walked the same street in the other direction just before to get to the store. If you're going to school, we would have met you on the way. No. She looked a little disappointed. Like Kanji, Ren appears quick to jump to a really irrational conclusion. Maybe it's something in the water here. I make a mental note to stock up on soft drinks. You know that it's the second time this week that someone asked if I was a mind reader. Do I really give off that impression? Ren shrugs her shoulders, which is all the answer I get. You know, maybe you should come with us back to the school. Really interjects just as I'm about to further debunk my alleged mind reader capabilities. She sounds rather concerned. The paper-thin smile on her face badly disguised the fact. Maybe she came to the conclusion that as I did. For everyone's sake, I decided to let the mind reader topic drop, as it's entirely inane anyway. Yeah, Lily's right. If you can't remember, there's no point in staying here. Ren considers this rather simple deduction for a moment, then nods. Okay. I think she'll just have the same voice as Hasao here, because I can't think of one. We start towards the school again, having wasted way more time than necessary with this episode. You doubt it. Ren walks along the edge of the sidewalk in a rhythmic way, looking like a mix of sleepwalker and rope dancer, while Lily keeps one hand on my shoulder tapping at the ground with her cane. Tap, step, step, tap, tap, step, step, step. Apart from that and a few fragmented beginnings of a conversation, it's quiet. Quite apart from the relaxing ones in the town at that. So how's the mural going? We are going to get bad luck. Never talk about work in progress. I'm sure it'll be wonderful. Bad luck. Tap, step, tap, step. She doesn't care to talk about it. Lily's politeness feels out of place for the first time. Step, step, step. The hill of Yamaku rests on top of is surprisingly steep, going uphill. We slow the pace, but I still feel my pulse rising and breathing getting heavier. Almost there. I can see the gates already. More than that, I notice that Lily's hand slightly tenses on my shoulder, interpreting it as a gesture that she wants to ask something. I speak up. Anything wrong, Lily? I resist the urge to say, aside from our traveling companion, but only just. For a moment she seems to debate whether she should even bring it up, but goes for it anyway. Is everything alright? Alright? How do you mean? The fact that I can't interpret her incredibly vague question puts her off for a second. It's just, you seem unusually tired, I guess. Now that she brings it up, I notice that my breathing is strangely heavy. The uphill walk has just really done the job on me. Really noticed it all too quickly. And this is why this part's called Mind Your Step here. Because if you choose the wrong answer, You will go down the Genji path, also known as death. So, sorry, I'm not in very good condition. This is the path we chose to get to choosing between Lily and Hanako, but since we chose to side with Shizune, sort of, we're not doing that, so therefore we're going for Rin, right? It's alright. I just need to catch my breath. My condition isn't the best these days. Oh, is it something that is related to you being transferred here? I mean, she cuts herself off rather abruptly, maybe realizing she was being a bit intrusive. Her instincts are sharp, though, and while I don't like the subject, it's not like I should lie about it. Silly, I don't think it might. I'm just a little weak for the time being. Hanako said you look fairly healthy, so I naturally thought. Lily doesn't finish her sentence again, letting off trail it with a measure of concern. As she furrows a brow, Lily's uncomfortable expression spurs me to say at least something to ease her feelings. It is surprising she's this flustered concerning her straightforward attitude with her own mindedness. She must know that not all share her own comfortable. She must not know. I botched this. She must know that not all share her own. I don't know why I can't do this. Her own comfort in such things. No, it's okay. I guess the best way to put it would be a messed up heart. Arrhythmia. I had a bad heart attack a while ago because of it, and spent most of the spring in the hospital, and in Iimaku on doctor's orders. She silently nods her head in acknowledgement. The answer, though, only seems to make Lily furrow her brow even further. She doesn't seem to quite know how to react, given we don't really know each other that well. I can't really fault her for it, given I have the exact same reaction. To my surprise, in a moment's time, her face shows that she comes to some sort of realization. Wait, so, the time when Emmy and you collided in the hallway. I grimaced slightly. Her ability to connect the dots quite so far is unexpected. Yeah, I guess I'm a textbook example of why those rules about running in the corridor exist. That was a lot more dry than I intended. Lily visibly shies away from continuing the topic. While I do want to assuage her concern, I really don't want to dwell on this either. Don't worry about it. I try to offer a reassuring smile, but then I realize the futility. Without knowing this, Lily smiles at me reassuringly, but doesn't say anything further. Arriving at the dorm, Rin stopped in front of her mirror as if lightning struck her. She had been so quiet for almost all the walk back that I had all forgotten she was here. It's Friday, isn't it? Yes, it's Friday. The 8th of June. This is bad. Bad? Why? I think I'm gonna go in a fetal position, throw up, possibly in reverse order. Is something wrong? No, nothing is wrong. It's Friday and nothing is wrong yet. This mural's gonna need to be finished by Sunday, so everything's alright. Do you have any drugs or a time machine? This is not good, not good. So she's behind her schedule. Recalling Shizune's exasperation at Rin's carefree attitude several days ago. I don't know what to think. She's left herself open for a told you so unless she can pull off or whatever she needs to pull off by Sunday morning. Rin keeps staring at the mirror as mortified as she can. Believe me, I need to go to work for a while. I laughed at Lily, expecting her to share incredulous look with me as I roll my eyes, but then I realized she's not one to do that kind of thing. Believe me. We do, of course, not wanting to aggravate her any more than she already is. There is a churning bad feeling in my gut. Rin sure has a knack of making people feel worried about her. She seemed like the person who should have never be left alone. Maybe we should call someone. She sounded like she was going into shock or something. I'm sure she'll be fine. She just, how do I say? Lily cocks her head a little, trying to find a polite way of calling Rin crazy without calling her crazy. Unique? Yes, a very unique person. I guess you could say that. She giggles at the notion melodiously, nodding in agreement. Sorry about leaving you stranded as you talked to her. I don't really understand her, so I keep my distance. So my guess was right. It only offers a slight, apologetic smile as if she was sorry that her own shortcomings prevented her from coming closer to Rin. I'm not one to blame her, at all. Lily let just slip of a long breath, probably a disguised yawn. I imagine she's as exhausted by all this as I am. I better leave now, and give these to Hanako. Thank you for the company, Sal. She smiles very slowly at me, very different than normal, despite the fact that she seemingly be smiling so often. I can't put my finger on what the difference is. It's just different. Relaxed, I'd say, but that's probably just relief over getting rid of Bryn, maybe. Yeah, good night. Say hi to Hanako for me. I will. Good night. Beep beep. Oh. The students are all in the class for the Saturday morning session. Each and every one of them is sporting tired eyes of people that have worked through the night. With the one day left to prepare, I suppose it's not so surprising. Thankfully, we only have to suffer through classes until lunch break, and then our time is our own. The child lurches into classes and tries to take her. I suppose students are the only people here that enjoy their late Friday nights. Without saying a word, he scrawls some page and question numbers on the board and slumps down at his desk. It's completely atypical behavior for him, but it appears that no one in the class is going to call him out on it. Wordlessly, the students shuffle their textbooks in position to get work. Not wanting to break the trend, I do the same. Fatigue has made this class antisocial. Not a peep is heard among the ruffling papers. I could probably be attributed to the two empty seats beside me. For some reason, Misha and Suzune aren't present, probably doing council work for the festival. It is very unique without Misha present. Or very quiet, not unique, what am I talking about? I wonder if she was born as rowdy as she is, or if she's making up for Suzune's lack of voice. Nakai, can I speak to you for a moment? I'm so engrossed to think about Misha that I don't even notice Metal approaching my desk. Sure, what's this about? It's probably better if we speak outside the classroom. Something about this doesn't sound too good, but I stand up and follow him into the hallway. Metal stands in the hallway scratching his head as he works out what he's trying to say. Not knowing what's going on, I wait silently. So, tell me, how are things? Things? I expect Metal to be a little vague, but this is pushing the limits. You know, things. You've had a week to settle it now, so how are things? Fine, I guess. I see. And how is your condition? The pause before condition seems a little unnecessary. Haven't had any problems so far. You know, except for a few hiccups there, and a brief shimmer of relief passes across Metal's face. Good, that's good. The school nurse was a little concerned that you might have been pushing yourself a bit too hard. He asked me to keep an eye on you when he couldn't. That makes sense. I'd ask that you don't blow us off so freely. As much as we try to give you the level of education that you would get at a normal school, you have to realize that you have limits. Our goal is to make sure that you know where those limits are and how to maximize your potential within them. Do you follow me? I guess. I mean, I don't plan on doing anything stupid. Well, let's start, I guess. So then, on to my next question. How are you finding your studies? I understand you were laid up for a while. We're not too far ahead, are we? I don't really think so. I tried to keep up when I was in the hospital, so it hasn't been too hard. Matao taps his chin and raises an eyebrow as he absorbs his information. Is that so? I suppose there are still students out there that realize the importance of learning. I wouldn't go that far. I was only trying to keep myself occupied in my little life support prison. Well, yeah, you've got to keep up with these things, right? That's exactly it. One wrong move in the world and you're left behind, right? Right. Wouldn't want that to happen? No. No, you wouldn't. Every week there's a new scientific discovery. Most of them mean nothing to the layperson, but any one of them could be the key to the next big thing. keep that in mind. It's obvious that Metal's serious talk is over, and he's going back to his standard, slightly scatterbrained approach to life. I think in hindsight that I prefer him this way. He's slightly more predictable in his unpredictability. Well then, I think that's all I really had to say. Let's get back in, shall we? My relief at that suggestion is insurmountable. Sure, you're the boss, right? Tao pauses for a moment. I don't think any of my students have ever called me that before. For an instant, I consider replying to this, but something deep within me tells me to shut my mouth and get back into the classroom. A few of the students jump at the sound of the door, rapidly trying to pretend that they are working on the questions on the board. Some don't even bother, their heads slumped on the desk as they nap. Thankfully, it would appear that Matao does not even notice them. He returns to his desk and retrieves a scientific journal from one of the drawers. I guess I got to him there. The class returns to the near silence that Matao and I left in before our chat. Mixed feelings of tiredness and anticipation buzz around the room. Everyone here is either waiting for a chance to rest or the chance to get their last-minute preparation underway. The clock of the wall slowly ticks and remaining class time away until finally the bells cry out and ending the torments. Before you all leave, I expect the answer from the problem by Monday. Class size is one instantly regretting slacking off, but still acutely aware of the more pressing issue at hand. The classroom empties in a blink as everyone rushes to their last-minute festival preparations. I stay behind and try to quickly finish the question so I don't have to bother with it over the rest of the weekend, with the festival and all tomorrow. Apart from me, Hanako is the only one left, obviously waiting for Lily. It's weird that Lily comes all the way to our class to pick her up. I expect that moving around is at least normally harder for her than it is for Hanako. But it's none of my business, and I naturally don't ask about it from Hanako. Despite the relative proximity of our seats, neither tries to strike up a conversation about that or anything else either. So an impressive silence falls upon the classroom. Time passes in silence. It's probably 15 minutes or so before, but it feels longer. I turn pages on my notebook. Hanako turns pages of the novel she's reading. My pencil lets plunging into favoritism when I was about to finish a paragraph. The sound of my irritated sigh and subsequent from fumbling around for a sharpener feel like they are breaking the mood in the classroom. Hanako keeps her eyes rolling away from my direction. For long, Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. Hanako? Oh. Her name is all it takes to make Hanako jump from her desk to front of Lily. They talk quietly for a moment, but it isn't long before Lily leaves down the hall and Hanako idles back in the classroom taking her seat once again. I watch Hanako out of the corner of my eye out of sheer curiosity at the idea that the two would be separated. For a couple of minutes, she does nothing but sit up with her chin in her hand, staring at the desk dejectedly. The boredom evidently becomes too much for her, though, her slender frame reaching into her bag and pulling out a small book. Come to think of it, that isn't the one I saw her reading at the library. She must be quite a fast reader to get through them at this rate. After about 10 minutes of restlessly shuffling in her seat and trying to read, Hanako closes her book and leaves too. As should I, since the assignment is all but finished and there's nothing else to do in the classroom. Not that I have anything to do anywhere else either. The school is a beehive of activity, but nobody pays me any heed. I saunter past the classroom filled with students frantically doing this and that, buzzing around like little worker bees. You wouldn't guess the school day is over. It's a bit quieter outside, but not by much. People zip by left and right, hurrying as quick as they can, busy and energetic. I feel the opposite. The midday sun seems to be draining all the spirit out of my body, making it feel limp all over. The warm, soft air pulls inside my shirt, feeling like a cushion. I yawn lazily, thinking about what I do. I drop off my books at the dorms, and then something I haven't decided yet. Maybe changing in this room. The way to the dorm is not envy coming my way, pointing despite not having those weird prosthetics on. I wave at her, and she skids to a stop. Yo, it's Al! That is the white and green painted door on her nose and chin respectively, but her smile is wide, as it seems it always She leaned closer to me and I blind the feeling and she examines me. What you doing? Nothing really. I don't have anything to do after the festival and everyone else seems to be doing something important. That's perfect, then you can help me and Rin. With the festival preparations? I'm not sure if I would be much of help. That's fine, I'm not much help either. And he grabs my wrist and starts dragging me back inside the school quite forcefully. Even her walking speed is more like jogging, making me stumble over myself simply trying to keep up. The stairs slow Emmy down a little bit. Maybe it's hard to climb her with her legs. Or maybe she finally runs out of breath. We'll go all the way back to the third floor in the seniors hallway, ending up where I left 5 minutes ago. I could just as well have stayed here waiting for Emmy, had I known. So, is Rin working at the mural still? That's right, she needs all kinds of paint and brushes and stuff, so I went to get them from the art classroom. And you need me to help with that. Well, Rin told me you had already helped her, so I thought you wouldn't mind. I see. So thanks to Emmy's flaky logic, here I am again, collecting stuff from the art classroom for the people. The room is empty apart from ourselves and the lonely specks of dust floating in the air. Emmy skips straight away to the back wall, taking out a tiny crumpled piece of paper from her pocket. While she tries to make her sense of the scrawled handwriting, I take a closer look at the materials lying around here. Dozens of paint cans and bottles are arranged on the shelves in the most unorganized fashion. Some look like they've been left for several decades, or like the previous art beloved generations. Next to the heavy stacks of neatly piled drawing paper are boxes full of different sized brushes and pencils and crayons. It smells of paint, turpentine, and fresh paper floating in stale air, reaching in my nostrils to form an unmistakable scent of art. Emmy studies her note, comparing them to markings on the various paint cans and passing them to me as she finds the correct batches. She stretches her neck to look on the topmost shelf, but it's not quite enough. Her eye level stays below the shelf no matter what she does. Emmy gives up and just looks up at the shelf longingly, like a child in a toy store hopping in annoyance. After a moment building, she starts jumping up and down, apparently trying to speed read the label during a fraction of seconds she can see them, and catch what she can. I'm surprised that she fails miserably, and almost manages to bring the entire shelf crashing down. Now I see why me lending a hand here would be useful. Come on, let me do that. You can't jump high enough, and I don't want you to hurt yourself trying. Also, I'm like twice your height. You are not. She turns around, flaring scorn, flushed cheeks and all. Just kidding. Anyway, I'll look up there, okay? She glares at me one more time, but can't come up with a retort. With grudging, she turns her back to me. So I begin scrounging around the top shelf for paint, while below, Emmy crouches to scour what she can from the cupboard. I shake my head a little after double checking to ensure she can't see me do so. Emmy having a complex about her height was a surprise. I wouldn't have joked about it otherwise. She seems easy going, but I guess everyone else has a weak spot. Only after we almost have all the items collected, spread out to the desk like a treasure hunt or spoils, do I realize that it wasn't necessary the height chat that got her riled up. She might not like to be told she can't do something like jump. And Emmy herself seems to have forgotten all about it already. Quick to anger, quick to forgive. She's that type of person. At least she doesn't seem to have taken anything to heart as she chatters away happily while we pick up the rest of the items and then make her way back to Ren.